theory of love. Specifically, what today we are going to discuss is the Swedish theory of love. Okay, so in order to understand exactly what we are going to say and how we're going to elaborate this concept, we have to take a step back. In this days and age where there is freedom, right? Freedom is not based upon anything else, right? So freedom is foundation whilst not having any foundation, right? There's not a foundation of freedom in anything. Otherwise it wouldn't be freedom, right? And that is the reason why we call it postmodern, right? It's no longer modern, it's postmodern. And this is of course a simplification, but I'm not going to go there because this is outside of the scope of what I want to say. But in this postmodern era, what we have is freedom. What we lost is a sense of identity, right? So our identity has to be built through what we do and most of all, who we become. And it's not so much who we become apparently. It's not so much about how we become and what kind of person we become, but it's more based upon who we are. For instance, what job do we do? Are we married? Do we have kids? Do our kids go to a certain school? Have we attended a certain school over another? And all of this crap, which is important, but to a point. I'm not gonna go there. You're free to express your thoughts here below, and to disagree with me, please do that. But the whole point of this is, if we have to construct our identity, not only that makes us way more fragile and way more exposed to fragility, exactly for this reason. Not gonna go there again, but that also put an emphasis on self-realization, right? What individualism does is prioritizing ourselves, you know, over others. And from this standpoint, when you prioritize yourself, you lose a sense of collectiveness. You do lose a sense of collectivism and a sense of sacrifice for the community. And in losing that, you no longer have a network of support. So how do you win this struggle? And that's why people have so many issues, right? And mental issues especially, because you know, to raise a baby you need a village. I mean, we need to be independent and do what we need to do, but at the same time we would need a network of support. We need people around us, right? We need friends, family, you know? So there's a whole myth of self-reliance that is out there that it's true, but to a point it's very exaggerated and it's not really as productive as it is sold. But that's not even the point. The whole point is like, so if we need collectivity, right, but we have this stress on emphasis, how do we counterbalance this two opposite sort of directions? And in this sense, Sweden can help. Why? Because they have a whole theory of love, if you want to put it that way, right? That is, you have to be autonomous, right? You have to be independent. There's a strong sense of self. There's a strong individualism in Sweden. There's a sense that your friends are not people that can help you, but people that will decide freely to choose your company, which is an interesting sort of contribution to your life. But in this myth, you need help, right? You cannot eliminate the collectivity and get away with it without paying a price, right? And so in order to counterbalance this individualistic sort of push, the government since the 70s, in what has been called a bloodless revolution, has passed a bunch of laws, reforms that give to their citizens measures and tools to be used to their own advantage. For instance, they decide to go to university, right? And basically the government asks for their own income rather than for their parents' income, in a way that their choice is their choice, not manipulated by their parents' desires, does not depend and is not limited by their parents' desire. And in that sense, then you'll see that your own happiness does not rely on your parents' wish, but it relies on what you want to do in your life, what you want to study in your life. Another example, right? There are now joint taxes, right? Joint taxes, when they were introduced, penalized mostly women. But now if you pay your own taxes, right, and you don't pay joint taxes, you're very much responsible for your own self. You're very much responsible for your own person, right? So all of this supports individualistic pushes, right? But on the other hand, for instance, who takes care of the elderly? Well, the state does, right? So in a certain sense, the state is there to provide support, right? In absence of a collectivity that really can do that, then the state provides that sort of support, right? And so the elderly are being taken care by the state at a certain point, so that they do not aggravate financially the family. Or another example is the introduction of laws that criminalize spanking to children, right? And the idea is again that everyone, children included, are autonomous beings, and no one has the right to possess another being and therefore to spank them. Another example, the last one we're going to provide, is legalizing gender-neutral marriage, right? In a way that everybody can decide independently from their own societies or their societal pressures. And so in all of this, what the state does is really to provide support and create what traditionally a collectivity would have provided for an individual. However, is this so idyllic? Is this so perfect? And why don't other states adopt the same model? Well, first of all, because Sweden is very efficient and not very much plagued by corruption, and when you live in a country that is corrupted, things do change a lot also. But besides that, which is a technical sort of consideration on the balance, on the you know, on the balance of the government, so on the amount of money that a government can and does have. Besides all of that, the truth is also that cultures are different, one from another for sure, but even Sweden right now, with its 20% of immigrants, of people that have not been born in Sweden, is facing a lot of issues, right? Because all of these measures were created for a typically traditional sort of Swedish society. But when you have a lot of refugees, which every country has, but when you have a lot of refugees, things change, because those measures have to be applied to refugees as well. But refugees do not pay taxes because they don't have jobs, and they rely upon cultural models that are completely different and, for instance, way more collective. So no country is a paradise, I guess. That is the whole moral from this video. But most of all, I want to hear from you. Which models do you think is best? Is that the individualistic model, or is that the collectivism in which, for instance, I was brought up? So let us know. Comment below if you do want to do that. That would be really great. And that's it. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we're gonna talk next time in a new video. Bye!